Welcome to Withdraw Consent. I'm Jack. This is Victor. So we got a comment from Romer333 on Rumble, and he presented this idea that we should do. It's a very basic video on National Socialism. If you don't know anything about politics or anything, you can still understand because we're not going to go in depth on anything.
Right.
So National Socialism was what the Nazis had.
In World War II, the bad guys.
Yeah, and prior to World War II.
Yep.
And we're just going to explain a couple things of their system that they had, and you see what it sounds like to you.
Yeah, and the idea is to see is this more appealing than what you currently have.
Right. So you're engaged, and as you're engaged and your wedding day is approaching, the government's building you a home so that on your wedding day, you can move into a brand new home that you get loaned to you, interest-free, and if you have a child, it erases a quarter of your debt. 4 children, debt-free.
Right.
But no interest in the meantime.
Right.
Because they want to promote families. They want to promote stability, children, 2-parent households.
And they want you not to be barely making it and, they call it house poor, but, that type of thing where you're just barely struggling just so you can have a house.
Right.
They want you to succeed.
And if a government cares about their people, they want their people to be happy. Owning a home for your family is a great way to make people very happy. First point.
Totally. And then you kind of alluded to it, the no interest. Well, if there's no interest for anything.
It's illegal.
Yeah, usury is illegal. So you go to buy a car, you get a loan for your, $40,000 car or whatever, but you're not paying all the interest on it. And so you could buy either a way nicer car or you buy the same car you normally would and you could pay it off way quicker. Or your payments maybe are just smaller because you're not paying the interest and it still takes you 5 years or whatever. But again, it's less financial burden that you're carrying around to get to the same thing that you get today.
Yeah, buying a car is like going to a furniture store. It says no interest for 12 months, but you take out a 4-year loan. It's just no interest for 4 years.
It's just period.
It's just the same as that other principle.
Right.
But, okay, so I'm going to talk about stuff related to the children.
Okay.
Children are near and dear. I have children, very near and dear. Imagine a government that was incredibly focused on stopping the trafficking of, stopping the prostitution of, stopping the pictures of, the videos of, instead of just being infiltrated all throughout the Pentagon, all these pictures, right? And so when I was a kid growing up, you wanted to get a magazine, we'll say, just a regular magazine.
Pre-internet.
Playboy, we'll say, yeah. It's in like a black sheath, and it's up at the top of the magazines. You have to have an ID, right? Nowadays, children, and you made a good point just a minute ago, adults too, are just getting ruined by this stuff. Right? And so in their country, it was illegal for even adults to own.
Because of the negative effects.
But I mean, yeah, you don't even have politicians in this country arguing that we should make it more difficult for children to access it. That's where you live. And then we're looking way up on a hill at a country that has made it illegal.
Banned.
But you could say freedom. If you're going to say freedom so your children can watch pornography, this is not the right channel for you. We're not trash.
Right.
And if you haven't thought that through, you got to just go into a quiet room and think about that for a while.
Why do we care more about your children than you do?
Right. And we don't want unlimited freedom.
Right.
We don't want all of our freedoms lost.
Right.
But we definitely don't want the freedom to do terrible things or for our children to be exposed to terrible things.
Definitely. And if we just, again, I just keep piggybacking on yours, but how about it's illegal and the government is regulating the food we eat? We can't, all the processed food and the sugars and all the terrible things that is in everything that you do that you don't cook at home. It's not good for us. And you see how big people are. Your kids get overweight. I mean, I grew up, don't remember there being overweight kids when I was, in the 80s. I'm sure that they were there. Maybe, but everyone was outside playing and now they're just zoned out in video games, just all that kind of stuff. What if you you lost that freedom to give your kid unhealthy stuff?
Yeah, when my kid's looking through his Halloween bag, he'll just grab all the Skittles out and be like, poison, 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 because they use a chemical in there that's poisonous. It's illegal, so they changed the recipe for Europe because it's illegal in Europe to give kids that poison. Gotcha. In the U.S., they give you the poison.
Gotcha.
And then, you could go into vaccinations and mercury, aluminum. You could do there's all these unhealthy things that happen.
Right.
And that's maybe too controversial. But there are a lot of unhealthy things.
Right.
You look at your fast food. What if fast food was being regulated to be more healthy, just to lower the saturated fat or what trans fats, which they have done some things on. But Everybody says you go to Europe and you just start eating and you just start losing weight.
I'm sure.
And then Europeans come here and they're just disgusted, just grease coming out of their pores. Okay, so for entitlements are things like Social Security, Medicare, welfare, unemployment, disability, right? Imagine, because one of the 25 points, which was the party platform that they wanted to get done, was an increase in old age pensions. Okay. So they want to take care of their retirees, but there's no welfare. There's no welfare at all. And so now if you're doing your duty to your country, you get a pension. So for example, the widow of a World War I veteran who's taking care of 3 children, she's going to get a pension from the state because she's doing her duty to the country. That is her job and she's doing it. She's not profiting, but nobody cares if you're profiting. And then the flip side of this that you might not like is that there was a designation you could get, which is work shy. And somebody who's work shy gets put in a work facility or a work camp to build roads or something, and is forced to do labor because everybody does their duty.
Right.
You do it, and your leg gets ruined, and you can't do it anymore. You get a pension. They'll take care of you.
Right.
But it's not for handouts. And so if you're big into handouts, the system's not. If you look at people getting handouts in your country today, and you're disgusted by it, maybe there's something interesting here for you.
Definitely. And just about the work camp, it's not like you're there forever. It's just once you're like, okay, I'm just going to go do my own work, then you get let out of the camp and you got to go get a job.
Yeah, and you're getting discipline, you're getting experience, you're getting skills.
Totally.
Okay.
All right. What if you lived in a place where you turned on the TV or on the internet and you were going to watch the news and you could actually believe what was being said? It wasn't being... everything is so slanted depending on which channel you're on. And yeah, we're talking about state-controlled media, and newsflash, that's what we have now. But they're not, the news that is reported is not, it's not tailored for your benefit. It's meant to instill fear and to promote a certain propaganda that is bad for you.
Yeah, whatever their objective is, it's the narrative to achieve that.
And we're talking about the same thing. It's still going to be a narrative. It will still be tailored, but it's for the best. It's the betterment of the country, of the people.
Yeah. It's talking about good, healthy families, strong families sticking together no matter what, then working together for the best interest of their country.
Right. And, promoting, helping out in your community and looking after your neighbor, there's all that kind of stuff. And that would be wonderful.
Yeah. And an example, because this one's kind of a tough one to sell on because nobody likes state media. But there's a story I want to tell that I told in a previous video. And it was during one of Hitler's speeches, right? And he was talking trash about the BBC and Winston Churchill's lies and propaganda. And basically what happened is in this theater, I think it was Norway, I'm not sure exactly, but they had said, the BBC says, we're winning, lads, we're winning, we got this. They're fleeing from us in terror. And because of that, a column of Brits, soldiers, they started marching down the road because they thought, oh, it's cool, we're not in war, we won. And then the Germans came and just killed every one of them, just bombed them out. Boom. They strafed them with right? And the Hitler's giving the speech, and he's like, these Brits shouldn't have died. They only died because they were getting garbage propaganda saying that they were winning a conflict that they were losing, and they lost their lives because of it. That type of propaganda should be, oh, wait, it was illegal in Germany to do that type of propaganda.
Oh, okay.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And if you can see that, it's a pretty good picture.
Right.
Okay, let's talk corporations.
Yeah.
We've done this before. I'll link this video below. It's called Economic Fascism. It's something around that. Something about that. And basically, imagine a country where corporations are not working first for profits. They're working secondly for profit, first for the best interest of their workers and their countrymen.
Okay.
And the way this was performed was that the government had the right to nationalize corporations. That sounds scary. But a good government doesn't ever actually nationalize the corporations. They just threaten them to. They threaten to nationalize them if they don't do the best interest of the people. So that, for example, go back to the child stuff, right? You have, say it's legal, but we want to restrict it from kids. So the government goes to Pornhub and says, hey, you should really make email verification for your thing, right? And they're like, oh, yeah. Yes, sir. Well, email verification. And then you show up at the email places, Gmail, Yahoo, and you say, hey, you know what you should do? You should do a double verification on those Pornhub and the other sites to the telephones, right?
Right, two-factor.
You know what you should do? You should then, In the next month, between 3 and 4 weeks, a random day, send them another verification just in case the kid got a hold of both devices, so that you're getting future ones. And all email verifications from Pornhub are not deletable, and they're in their own category that the parents can check on.
Oh, okay.
Like, there's so many things you could do to immediately fix it, and then Gmail will be like, yes, sir, we'll do it, sir. Don't nationalize those, sir. But they're being bullied. They're being 100%. Mistreated. The companies are.
Good.
Let's do it, though. It depends on if they're working for the best interest of the people.
Right.
And so, yeah, that's basically the point. It's very complicated what I'm talking about here, but it came down to they had a semi-socialist system, but the highest spending they ever spent on social programs was 7% of their annual budget.
Wow.
Because they forced the corporations to, instead of doing marketing, you're doing actual drives and stuff to help people, to provide them with clothes and stuff like that. But that is your marketing budget.
Right.
And you're getting all this street credit for it. And boom, the government, but they're making you do it. It's wonderful. But you're also profiting. They don't want you to be unprofitable.
Right, definitely.
But you just got to put your people first. Your workers never have to go on strike. Because if I can go on a point that I've never mentioned before.
Let's hear it.
Okay. They abolished workers' unions.
Oh, nice.
So Jimmy Dore says, oh, the Nazis, they're coming to abolish our workers' union. Wait a second. Why would you abolish a worker union? What if you didn't need them anymore?
Right.
Because the government was already bullying the corporations into giving fair wages and benefits to their people. Why do you need a union now? That's just because unions get corrupt. We know about this. Especially in our day and age, there's not a lot of non-corrupt unions, right? It's trash out there. But in this situation, it looks like, oh, they abolished unions. Didn't need them. The government was your union. In this case, a good government.
They were on your side, fighting for you to improve everything.
Right.
All right. So all of these examples are ultimately it's a loss of freedom for someone, the corporations or people or whatever. And when I was first learning about this was a really hard thing for me to accept because I was all about freedom is the ultimate thing. And you have to believe that before you watch a video like this because every government hates you and hates their people. And if you can just crack your brain open just a little bit and try to accept that what if a government didn't hate you, then the loss of freedom it's not as big a deal. It can be a secondary thing. And you can start to see the benefits of some of these ideas. So just try that when you're thinking about this.
And not every government does hate you because if you just don't believe us about any of this stuff, just look at Hungary today.
That's true.
Look at Hungary. You have your third kid, they give you a free car. You have your fourth kid, you pay no taxes for the rest of your life.
But Hungarian kid.
Hungarian
Hungarian
citizens having Hungarian children because they want their people to live on.
Right.
And there are other countries who have done stuff like this. But this is just a huge package of stuff. And I'm sure there was more stuff that they didn't have a chance to get to do.
Sure.
But I'm just saying, you just got to envision it because I see famous people on YouTube and stuff, and they can never conceptualize a good government. Just go back to Athens. At one point, Athens got corrupted, but at one point, they made beautiful, perfect government. And it could happen.
Gotcha.
And it has happened.
Yeah. All right, so hopefully you enjoyed this. Hopefully if you're a new person to this and the normie that our commenter talked about, that this opened your eyes a little bit and just gave you some food for thought. And hopefully we'll see you next time.